What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Tower Talk Show. Happy reset. All of us are here. We're not on potato internet. We're not on cell phones. Audio should be coming in loud and clear to both Twitch and Facebook. So thank you. Thank you for joining in. And hello, gentlemen. We have literally every single thing to talk about. All of the things. So this episode's actually going to be a little bit longer than usual. So you're welcome if you love us, and if you don't love us, then why are you here? But we love you, so stick around. We need the views, need the shares. Just share us and then go away. That would actually be wonderful. I am your host, The Beard. We have Taka, or Taka Bear, as he's so affectionately known in our group. And of course, we have Not So Gamer. And as per usual, former Guardian. So, fellas, how you been?
Pretty freaking amazing with all the Destiny news. Not gonna lie.
So much.
It's been crazy.
All the goods.
Yep. All the goods, maybe a couple neutrals, and not really any bad.
I would say that. I would say
so.
I would say some neutrals.
I mean, that kind of does it. Like, if all you're here for is like a 10-second episode, that's pretty much gonna be it.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. We will catch you next Tuesday.
I mean, there's some controversial stuff, obviously. Not everybody loves what's happening to hand cannons, but we got a lot. We got a lot to dive into. First up, though, what are we thinking as far as for a build of the week? I don't know how, but Taka was literally murdering us with this stupid long zoom sniper rifle. I don't know if there's any other builds we wanted to bring up or just.
Not even a build.
Cracked Taka is.
You just put a sniper on.
Yeah. I know, but like it was a nightmare.
Everyone. It was a higher zoom. It was what, 50?
Yeah, long shadows 50.
And what was even your role on that thing?
It was
snapshot moving target. Not that I peeked.
Snapshot moving target. Yeah.
Okay, so like probably the best PvP role you can get on a sniper that you wouldn't think would be geared towards PvP.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I just wanted to try out a longer zoom scope with the changes that they announced to snipers in the sandbox, which we'll talk about. 50 zoom scopes are going to be unchanged between what they are now and next season. And so, felt like, hey, we're doing some private matches, doing some Crucible. Let's try one of these out and see how it goes. And I think it went pretty well. You know, the longer zoom actually didn't end up bothering me too much. Still able to hit some crispy close-up shots.
For those listening, when he says close-up, he sniped me 4 different times at about 5 to 7 meters.
Within shotgun range, like within melee range.
While I was sliding. That was
while I was sliding.
So
yeah, so I mean, you could definitely feel the difference in the zoom between like, I don't know, a 35, I think is what Revoker is, which is what I typically use. And then going up 15 up to 50. Yeah, it was definitely noticeable of a difference, but I thought that the difference was going to bother me a lot more than it actually did. So all the little crybabies with no personalities at Perfect Aim just decided to go balls to the wall and implement the cheat on controller now too. So that's actually how Taka was hitting all those snipes. Perfect Aim, you can get it on controller. It's not just for mouse and keyboard anymore. We all know that's what it was. But yeah, so I guess Taka, would that just be your message going into next season? Is don't be afraid of a long zoom scope? Yeah, I'd say there's a lot of changes to the sandbox coming, a lot of weapons and archetypes that are going to get mixed up here and there. I think, honestly, the big thing is don't have a closed mind to trying out some new things and seeing maybe something else is going to work out really nicely for you. Just experiment, play around with different types of weapons. I'm excited to try out a bunch of new things next season, and I think it's going to be great. Yeah, long zoom scopes too on the snipers.
Yeah, more sniper talk to come. There's definitely a couple things that I wanna bring up. Some changes that they've explicitly told us about snipers, and then I think some stuff that was kind of hidden if you read between the lines. But should we get into this massively girthy TWAB or what?
Dude, it's a girthy boy.
Dude, it's huge. Probably huge. For me, I've been waiting for this TWAB like since like March, April. Just like knowing a little bit more, getting drips here and there about the upcoming expansion. Like, we all know that sandbox is really what we want to talk about. Like, that's the news. This is the news that we've been waiting for essentially for months.
Yeah, I'd say March or April of 2019 when they changed 600 RPMs. It's about how long I've been waiting for it.
Right about the time they changed the auto rifles, we were wondering when we were going to go back.
It's like, I wonder when they're going to turn this back. This sucks.
Can we go back?
That is one thing with Destiny. The sandbox changes tend to be few and far between, but they do tend to bring some pretty big sweeping changes to the meta and things. And so, personally, I'd like to see changes a little bit smaller more frequently, but it is always exciting when we do get to see a preview of some of these new changes, some new things that we're going to see in the game. So,
yeah, I mean, we have 2 hand cannon archetypes that are basically getting like erased or moved around in some way, shape, or form from the game. So, kicking it off with 110s essentially are no longer a thing. Starting in Beyond Light, the 110s are all getting a rate of fire increase. They're going to be 120s. They're also getting a massive range buff. They're going to be very, very, very long range boys. Not 3 headshots though, right? Still going to be 2 heads, 1 body.
1 head, 2 bodies.
1 head, 2 bodies.
1 head, 2 bodies.
It's the most lenient.
Always
archetype.
Been that way, right?
Yep, it's the most lenient archetype of hand cannons in the game.
But that rate of fire has just made him so unusable. Like the follow-up shot.
Their time to kill, I think, has been 1.1, if I'm not mistaken. That's dropping down to a 1.0 with this increase of rate of fire. So you should be able to get a consistent 1.0 kill by just landing 2 bodies and 1 crit on an opponent.
Crazy. So I think they said and this was base range from a hip fire, so not including like your zoom magnification. Was it 30 range? 30 meters? 32 meters with no zoom.
And if you have max out range, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's right, with 100 range.
So if you can get a 120 RPM hand cannon with 100 range, with the ADS modifier, it's 44.8 meters is when you start feeling damage fall off.
And,
pretty far.
That's pretty far. And
that doesn't mean your 3-tap potential, like your 3-tap, because you could hit headshots.
Yeah.
Probably,
a bit further
I would
than
say
that.
probably close to 50 meters. If you get all 3 headshots, you still might.
Yeah.
3-tap. That's crazy.
Well, and one other thing too, as it stands right now, because damage-wise they're not changing, they're just getting a rate of fire increase. You can 2-tap with hand cannons using any kind of a damage increase perk. The fan favorite, I would say, is Rampage, because you can put Rampage spec on it, so it makes it last a bit longer. But with even 1 stack of Rampage, you can 2-tap with these hand cannons if both shots land in the face. And with the rate of fire increasing, that 2-tapping optimal time to kill is 0.5.
That's insane.
From what range again?
50 meters.
Close
With
to 50.
If you had 100, you might still be able to pull it off at 50, but I'd say reliably around 40 or just shy of 40. That's pretty disgusting. And there's other things out there that can proc that too. It doesn't have to be a perk on your weapon. You've got empowering rifts, and what's the Titan one I can never remember whenever we're on the show? Inertia override.
The stupid one where you pick up ammo and you get more damage.
Also using your melee, they changed that a while ago. When you do your dive bomb out of the sky and hit someone, it procs inertia override.
Wait, what?
You didn't know that?
You're kidding me.
Look, I don't main a Titan, so I could be wrong. Someone in chat wants to clarify that. I'm pretty sure it procs on your melee.
Like, our Titan hate isn't just for the memes. Like, it's real. And every episode I find out another broken thing about Titans.
Well, if you just run bottom tree striker, if you punch somebody, then you get a damage buff too, so just melee them.
When will it end?
So melee somebody, get a melee kill, and then 2-tap the next guy, proc Rampage, and just continue your spree.
Why aren't there more Titans that run that tree with Inertia Override? And because can't you 1-tap with Ariana's Vow with Inertia Override?
Probably.
I thought you could.
Maybe. I know you can with, like, Layman Arc. You can, if you proc Poison, you can 1-tap to the face with Inertia Override.
That's insane.
2 taps with all the 110s.
Why don't we play Titans? Let's be real.
Because they don't look like a ninja.
That's it. That's
we play Destiny for the dress up.
Yeah, because how many times have we talked about, like, there's no tactical reason to play any other class except stupid fat Titans.
Well, I mean, you just don't get damage buffs and overshields on the other classes is all.
Yeah.
But
and you look a lot better.
Those Warlock gauntlets though. Just saying.
The poison ones? Oh yeah.
Of course the poison one. You know the ones that got showed off in the Vidoc and then they skipped the hunters? Yeah, that one.
Because the gauntlets are trash.
Yeah.
They showed the Titan gauntlets and the Warlock gauntlets, and we're just like, I'm just sitting there waiting, and it just moved on. I'm like, all right, cool. Because what are they gonna show? They're gonna show like 2 ricochets off and hitting a freaking hive. I don't know, dude. Like,
they didn't give us like a super great look at the full like animation of the Titan gauntlets in the Vidoc, but like from what they did show, it seemed like a pretty fast animation to put the overshield on.
Not only that, but did you look in the bottom corner to see how long the overshield lasts for?
no, I didn't see
I missed it.
Okay,
Is it 20 seconds?
We'll take bets.
Don't tell me it's 20
Right,
seconds. Dude.
it's probably like 30 seconds. Let's be real.
Place your bets.
It can't be 20, dude. I
$100
said this
for 20.
I said this episodes ago.
If it's 20, I'm switching to Titan main.
Dude, it better be 10. 10 is balanced. 10 or less.
I don't know if me saying it will be enough.
I don't think 10 is balanced. I think 8 seconds.
It's probably like
balanced.
something. It's probably like 45 seconds a minute, something crazy.
Yeah, 45 seconds to a minute. There's probably some exotic that'll make it that long.
Dude, if it's more than 20, I might disconnect from the show right now. You guys might have to just go on with.
But like, you need the gauntlets to do that, though, right? So
don't defend them. Don't, dude.
No. I'm not defending. I'm just saying, like,
Here's
you
the
need
thing.
the gauntlets for it to work, right?
Here's the thing,
Like,
though.
that's the exotic gauntlet. Like,
But-
it
yes,
takes your,
that's the
it
point
uses
of the gauntlets.
right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, and it consumes your barricade. But if you run 100 resilience, you can get your
No,
barricade recharge under 20 seconds. It's like
I
17
know
or 18
that.
seconds.
I know that. Yeah.
So if it's 20, that's stupid.
That's
And
what
if
I'm
it's
saying.
more
I'm
than
not-
that, it's even stupider. Which is a word.
I don't know if this is gonna here. Let me
bro,
adjust
it's
this
like
here.
blur as hell, dude.
Just wait.
20
It is
seconds.
20,
20
dang it.
seconds.
Ah, I freaking called it.
I'm switching to a Titan main.
Gosh dang it, dude.
You know, the thing is, I've been wanting to switch to a Titan main forever. I
Here's the
think I
thing.
might just do it.
Here's the thing, and Titans will defend it and be like, well, yeah, but if the shield gets broken, then it doesn't last the full 20. Screw you.
Yeah.
What that means is you can pop it way in cover before anything
That's
even
ex-
pings
that's
on your
exact-
radar, and you have all the time in the world to find and engage an opponent. That's what that means.
Because that's the thing is you're gonna pop it and then you can just continue to go be an ape.
Dude, you're not even gonna be able, like, on Anomaly, Titan rushers with shotguns, like, you're not even gonna be able to kill them in like a shotgun battle. They pop it and you both slide into each other. They're just gonna kill you every time, and you're not gonna do anything.
How much do you guys want to bet that the first Trials weekend that it's Anomaly? That's the only Titan exotic people run.
Well, yeah, because Antaeus
I
ones got
wouldn't be
nerfed and now they
surprised.
suck.
Dude, even if they like triple the freaking cooldown on the barricade with those gauntlets, I still feel like it's just really strong. It's still an overshield like every match.
Dude, that's gonna be a
Yeah.
good exotic.
Yeah, and if the matches last longer than 18 seconds, then you have two. Two per match.
And if you're really worried about it, just throw on a Traveler's Chosen.
Yeah,
Anyways.
exactly.
I don't want to get us too off topic with that. I just
Dang.
No, hitting Titans is
talked about
always
it.
on topic on this
we
show.
talked about it in a previous episode about how powerful we thought those gauntlets might be, and
Dude, I called the 20 seconds in that episode. I said, if it's 20 seconds, it's going to be broken. Gosh dang it!
And the animation didn't look. Granted, we saw it like halfway through.
It
He'd
looks
already
it
the
looks the
animation,
same
so
time as
might
it
be a
takes for
little
them
longer.
to throw the barricade up.
Yeah, it seemed pretty fast.
That's it. That's the animation right there.
And of course, he like does this thing and like sticks out his fat belly too. Stupid.
The Kringle Crush. Did you guys ever play that game?
Stupid fat Titan.
Oh, dude. Clay fighters, man. Anyways, what were we talking about? Something from the TWAB?
We were talking about 120s, how they're
were
going to
talking
be
about
long
120s.
range, two tappy boys.
Oh,
We
that
got
was
to talk
my
about
B.
this range buff to 140s as well. So adaptives
yes.
are going from 20 to 25 meters, which might not sound like a lot, but again, this is just from the hip,
It's a 5
so
meter bump.
not including the range boost from ADSing.
It's a 5 meter bump. Most hand cannons right now start having damage fall off between 26 to 28 meters. So wherever you fall in that range on your hand cannon you use, you're getting like an additional 5. So you're going to be around 32. Like, that's great.
That's huge. That's pulse, like low-ish end of pulse range. Just kind of middle of pulse range, actually. That's AR range. Like, once again.
I mean, because they do chunk damage, it already feels fairly good even beyond that range. Because, yeah, you're experiencing damage fall off, but if you're still chunking out 40 to 50 damage on somebody, like, it feels good. And with the changes to 150s, like, using a 140 just means you're doing a bit more damage than what most people are used to. So pushing out that range as well, it's just going to make it feel good.
Taka, I know you don't dig hand cannons too much. What are you thinking so far with, I mean, is having a longer range 140 or a super long range 120, is any of that enticing to you as a non-hand cannon user?
I mean, I don't think it's going to really make me use hand cannons more than I do now. But I don't think it's a bad change overall either.
I think if Taka puts on a 120, everyone in that lobby's in trouble. That's what I think.
I was just going to say, if that's not enough to sell you on using a hand cannon,
So
what
this
if
might
I
be good
told
news
you-
then. I went through, because my vault was full, right? I've done a couple passes over it, deleted a bunch of crap. Well, in one of my more recent passes, obviously before any of these changes and stuff were announced, I'm like, you know what? I don't use hand cannons very much. Especially don't use 110s. Deleted all of them. I don't have a single 110 rate of fire hand cannon in my vault right now. So
See, I only have the Duke, which is getting sunset. So
is it?
I don't have anyone to fall. I have a couple Crimmel's daggers, but they're not good rolls. They don't have rampage. Which, if you're gonna roll a 110 next season, like, or a 120, you should really have rampage, in my opinion. If not, like, kill clip. But usually the reload is so slow on those things that I think
Can't you get kill clip on Criminal's Dagger?
you probably can, but I don't have one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but hand cannon's reload is so freaking slow.
Yeah, you'd have to run some
Kill clip is
some buffs.
meh.
But you
You're
know,
Hunter. Just get a kill dodge, get your reload back.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
that does proc kill clip, and if you're running
Yeah.
Dragon Shadow,
but if you're someone like me who runs like Worm Husk, like just wasting your dodge like that, usually not what you want to do. You know, because you want to kind of save it for that heal when you need it or
this is
whatever.
true.
But then if you could get like drop mag on it or like outlaw, something that will help that reload speed. My old fashions got quick draw kill clip with drop mag and with reload masterwork. It's like the best thing ever, dude.
Yeah.
So I know you're lightweight excited about the 120s, right, Gamer? Like you're actually excited about that one?
I kept some of them. I got rid of all my criminal daggers. Didn't think they were gonna be any good. I had some really good rolls. I had some with like triple tap. I got rid of them because I didn't think 110s were gonna get any loving. But I did keep a true prophecy one, which you can still get pretty much anywhere. That has opening shot and explosive hit, and I've been testing it out, and it's pretty nasty. So I'm actually excited when the mid season comes out.
Yeah, that one's a
how
world
good that's
drop,
gonna
so
be.
keep an eye out for it if you get a good
Yeah,
roll.
so if you guys, obviously Iron Banner's gone, so if you don't have 110s, True Prophecy is probably one you can still get. Just anywhere you want to turn in some bounties in to the Vanguard or to Shaxx and see if you can get one, go for it. Master Rahul, you can probably get one there
Ugh.
too.
So
Don't talk to
so
him.
yeah. So just anywhere you go. Hey, Matsuro gave me a really good roll dire promise. So
He's
I
Former's
spent.
favorite NPC in the whole game.
So wait, are there any good 110s other than Criminal's Dagger that aren't getting sunset?
So True Prophecy,
Prophecy.
True
is going to
Prophecy.
stick around.
Yeah,
Um,
that one's last season's.
I
think
don't want
there's-
you to like drop your panties or anything, gamer. But what if I told you that I had a True Prophecy with Overflow and Rampage on it?
That's
That's
Okay,
what?
actually,
that's awesome.
That's freaking like I don't know how good 120s are gonna be.
That's a little
And
dirty.
honestly, I just don't like 120s. I don't like Criminal's Dagger. The only time I ever used Criminals, I had a build a while ago on my Warlock with a Fit-in Aspect and a bow, and I just quick swap over to the Criminals. I think I had Quick Draw Moving Target, or no, Quick Draw Opening Shot. I didn't ever
gross.
duel with it. Like anytime I ever had to duel with it, I was just like, here's a handheld Supernova instead. I'm not gonna duel with my guns. So I don't like 110s. The change to 120 like still might not be enough to get me to use them, just because they're slow and clunky compared to 150s and 140s.
I used them a
But
bit in
I'm kind of
D1.
excited for that role.
It is a different feel, but at the same time, it also feels really good to put fat chunk damage on someone. Like you hit a 90 to the head, and if somebody already had damage on them, for example, like you'll clean somebody up a lot of times, and it's just like sweet, and you just move on. Like it feels good to put heavy damage on someone. So it is also fairly easy to pick one up and be like, okay, like it feels different, but I kind of like it. And I think with the increase to the rate of fire, I think a lot of people, especially in 6v6 game modes, I think people are going to start picking them up and realize that they're not as bad as we thought. It would be nice to get a new exotic that was in this archetype.
110 or 120?
Yeah, because we only have Stern.
Well, yeah, that was about to say, like, well, Stern, like,
Stern's the only one. And
that's the
how
only
many
one we
exotic hand
have.
cannons do we have?
But no,
All
for
of
sure.
them.
But
We're getting
I
another
think,
one.
Yeah,
but I think Stern's gonna be pretty good, like next season.
it will. It will for the same reason. You'll
exactly.
two-tap
That's what I'm saying.
consistently.
So even though we don't have another one, I mean, obviously, because how often do you see people using it right now?
Not really.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I mean, you'll probably see an increase of usages.
Well, the change to TTKs are going to give sidearms a little bit more breathing room, and they're already pretty good right now. So,
So here's the thing, though, and we're gonna get into this because we haven't even touched on the 150 change yet. But the thing is this is the story with Destiny since the beginning. Like guns on paper can sound busted, extremely forgiving, very lethal, but then you get into the game and it's a totally different story. Like that was 150s back in D1 essentially. Nobody touched them, and I have a couple of reasons as to why here in a little bit. But with these changes to 110s, turning them into 120s, we're going to be able to duel at super long ranges. But all that means is we're just stepping into aggressive frame pulse rifles and still 600 RPM auto rifles, which I don't think are going to be, like, they're getting an adjustment. I don't think they're going to be bad. And so I'm actually not too sure about how the landscape's going to look with the new hand cannon changes, just because we're just stepping into the territory where where hand cannons just used to not be good. So it's like they're just going to be better there now. I don't know if, we go up against a Cold Denial with your 120 RPM hand cannon. I don't know if that's going to mean too much for you. I don't know if you're going to be able to outduel it all that well, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think pulses are going to be really strong in next season.
Well, I mean,
A few different
Vision's Wing.
archetypes even.
Vision's Wing is going to be like I think it's going to be really good next season. Like I've been
Cold Denial.
Yeah, I mean, I pulled it out, for our private matches and just started to reuse it again and get back used to it. But especially what the nerfs are going to do to 600 AR, ARs and stuff. So you'll probably see it shine now with that. So, but who knows?
I mean, Bad Juju. Keep an eye on Bad Juju. That could be a really good choice.
Yeah.
I don't even know what archetype any of these pulse rifles are.
Vigi is a heavy,
and Bad Juju's a lightweight frame technically, but it doesn't increase your speed.
So there's so many. There's there's so many archetypes in the game that like we don't know about, we don't talk about, we don't care about really. So I do hope that as the next couple weeks go on, these aren't the only weapons that we end up talking about. Obviously, these are the ones, like, I think Bungie did do a good job in, like, touching on the ones that stand out the most. And I think we might see a couple more changes in the next few weeks, too. I don't think this is all we're going to talk about as far as Sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so, Taka, if you're not sold yet on using a hand cannon, what if I told you, okay, 180s, the precision frames, the ones with the most atrocious time to kill out of any hand cannon, the one that takes the most amount of shots out of any hand cannon, even if you're hitting headshots.
It actually used to be faster than 110s. Throwing that out there.
Used to be.
Now they're the same.
Would you use them if I told you you get a couple extra rounds in the magazine?
Yeah, probably no.
My question: Why did
Gonna
they
be a
not?
no.
Why didn't they blanket increase the reload speed on them? That's my.
The reload speed, the handling, the
That's my
magazine, like
first
all
question.
of it. Like that archetype has so many handicaps on it. Like,
I mean, it has the lowest range too. Like, I feel like that should be the like faster reload, faster handling, but shorter distance hand cannon. And it's like,
what does that
none of
hand
those.
cannon do right? What does that archetype?
It has more
have going
leniency.
for it?
It's 2 heads, 2 bodies to optimal TTK, which is 1.0. So, I mean, it's not terrible. It was blatantly bad versus 0.7 TTK auto rifles and 0.80 TTK 150s, and those are both changing. So, it inadvertently is getting better because of those changes, and it still does have the leniency factor going for it. So a 140 still has to hit 3 headshots to get a now 0.87. Beyond that, it's 0.13.
But to
Or
keep in
1.3.
mind too,
I can't speak.
like one of the biggest strengths of a hand cannon is the ability to take a shot, duck into cover, pop back out, take another shot, you know, which oftentimes is going to slower your overall time to kill anyways. But you're a lot safer in taking those types of engagements. And so I feel like the fact that, you know, the 120s and the 140s are going to be able to 3-tap, you can duck in and out a few times, get the kill. It takes a whole extra shot with the 180. Probably just a harder thing to do when you talk about that ducking in and out of cover scenario with a hand cannon. Just straight worse. Yeah, it may be more lenient in the sense that, you know, you only need 2 head, 2 body or whatever, but
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the peak shotting is harder with the 180 because of the rate of fire. Like, it's...
But when the whole game, like, hand cannons used to be 4-shot kills anyways. Like, back then, Nature of the Beast was insane. I remember you and I, like, used that one like a sidearm. Like, we freaking love that gun.
Well, and here's the thing that people need to keep in mind when we're having these discussions, because everybody always reverts to optimal TTK. Oh, hand cannons are the best because they're 0.8. 9 times out of 10, maybe not as that much, but most of the time people are not getting that 0.8 second time to kill. They're landing a body shot or they're outright missing a shot, and so it takes 4 to 5 bullets for them to actually kill you. And so these weapons that are more lenient, like when Beard says when that first came out and we picked it up and it felt great because a 1.0 flat TTK consistently is actually just as good, if not slightly better, than a lot of most guns' normal TTKs. Like what we just said with the 140s. The 140s, if you miss a shot or land a body and you have to land a follow-up shot, that 4th bullet takes you from a 0.87 optimal time to kill to a 1.3. That's 0.3 seconds longer than what it takes on the 180. And if you miss one shot on the 180, it also goes to a 1.3 something, like 1.33. So, like, you have that more leniency edge to where when you're in a 6v6 scenario and you're just firing shots off into people, it can feel fairly good. But when you get into that 1v1 elimination style game mode, you're the last person standing against one other guy, and he lands his 3 shots on you, and you die when you only got 3 bullets off and you needed that 4th one. Yeah, it can feel bad. But he's also being more precise with the weapon that requires that. So, you know, he should be rewarded in that sense. Like, this is what we've been talking about on this podcast for the longest time, is leniency and lethality can't cross paths at the same point. A gun that's more lenient needs to be less lethal, and a gun that's more lethal needs to be less lenient. And that's exactly what is happening to hand cannons. 120s and 180s are more lenient and require less precision. 140s are more lethal but require that precision. They're not as lenient on you missing shots.
So we'll get into the 150s here in a second. I just feel like with 180s, yeah, they have the leniency in the sense of you don't need as many headshots, but it's just that gun, that archetype, I feel like just got left in the dust. The more that we got closer, like the sub 1 second TTK, like the mag buff was not what that archetype needed. I feel like.
The other thing to keep in mind, though, similar to 120s being able to 2-tap, that archetype can 3-tap if you have any kind of a damage buff. So multi-kill clip with even a single stack can now 3-tap, which puts it at a .667 TTK, which is what Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten were. So its base is lenient and has a decent time to kill, and once you get a damage buff or slide across the ground over top of special if you're a Titan, you can now 3-tap at a .66. Like, that's a very competitive time to kill. So,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and maybe that's just, maybe that archetype will just always stay that way.
Because I actually made the comment to you, Beard, like, man, I wish they would have bumped those to 200 RPMs. But the more I thought about it, I was like, no, because they would instantly become the best weapon if their damage was the same, their rate of fire was faster. Yeah, it would be slightly slower optimal than a 140, but so much more lenient that you would more consistently hit that like 0.9 or whatever it would turn into. And no, like that's 0.03 difference. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
It'd make them too good, but.
Kimber, you don't really use 180s, do you? I don't think I've ever seen you with one, yeah.
I used to use that one from Menadri, what, the Ostringer?
That's 140.
No, that's 180, wasn't it?
No,
Is it?
That's the Ice Luna.
What is Trust or Truth? What the hell that can?
Yeah, Trust.
So
Yeah.
Trust is a
180,
180.
right?
Trust was 180. That was the
180.
Gambit one.
Yeah. That's the one. I mained that. Oh, dude, I mained that all of I mained that all in season Forsaken.
The Drifter season.
No. The Forsaken when it launched. I got that one. Like that thing helped me. That thing got me Lunas. That thing got me Not Forgotten.
Yeah, people.
Because you needed those like 100 kills with hand cannons. So that thing.
People used to use them a lot, especially on console because of how steady they are, and again, consistent in their time to kill.
Steady. I believe Malfeasance is also 180.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, I use that one a ton. That one feels like it's still like really good. Like,
yeah, because you don't have to land.
If you get your
crits.
hand on that, I mean it on console, like it just felt like that gun doesn't move. Like it's just like your shots are. Like I used to main that one too when I got it. That one's fun. Like if you take like a three stack and take it into comp, like it's fun. Like getting all those shots.
Yeah, because
so yeah, I mean I've had its prime with 180s. They just weren't really after I believe Trust. There wasn't really anything good out there. I could be wrong, but for me
they fell out of fame when the the blanket nerf to hand cannons came out.
When
Luna's
spare
Howl
rations came out.
Yeah.
Well, once you got a good roll spare, like not a god roll, a good roll spare rations, that thing could just melt. I had a good roll until I got my god roll. Like, and it was spanking, dude.
I had a snapshot explosive payload Trust, and that thing was out of this world. I freaking love that gun.
Yeah, I mean too. I had snapshot triple tap and love that thing, dude. Love that thing. I think I had over like 3,000 kills with it, dude. Like I said, that thing got me Lunas and Not Forgotten because you needed all those hand cannon kills. Mm-hmm. So like that was my gun. That was my baby.
They still feel good, and I wouldn't sleep on them come the next expansion because with TTKs being slightly slowed down between the 140s hand cannons and the 600 RPM autos we'll get into.
Yeah, and what
it's
about
going to have more room to breathe.
Better Devils is 140.
140, right? Okay, yeah, never mind. Yeah, the 140. That's it, really. That was probably the only 180 I've used.
So for those that are paying attention, following along at home, hand cannons are essentially getting moved back. Like they've basically rolled back that blanket nerf just kind
Somewhat,
of
right?
in more of a staggered form. It's not just like,
like
oh,
a
we're gonna
middle
erase
ground.
the nerf. It's like, because 110s, right? The quote unquote new 120s are their range is actually gonna go more than what they used to be. 140s are kind of right about where they used to be. I guess 180s look like they're not getting touched for the most part, except for their stupid magazines.
Actually, 180s are also getting the same range buff as 140s.
Are they? Oh yeah, that's right. That was in
Adaptive
the,
and precision is having their
Adaptive
range
precision.
stat. So
Okay.
that's why I say I wouldn't sleep on them. They can still be good, especially if you have
so-
some kind of a damage buff like kill clip or rampage.
Yeah.
Like, hold
So
on to it.
180s are probably going to be better than next season.
Yeah, they're gonna be way
Better
better
than
than
what
they
they
are now.
They'll probably be better than 140s.
Oh, I don't know.
I think 140s are still gonna be the go-to.
I mean,
for more competitive
true, they'll
play.
be the go-to, but like I wouldn't, like you're saying, I wouldn't sleep on the 180s at all.
Oh no, they're
Like,
especially if you're a
getting that same
controller player.
damage.
If you're a controller
Yeah,
player,
that
100%
was-
pick up a 180.
That I was about to say that. Like,
So-
you know, I'm on the stick, so like for sure, 180 is probably gonna feel way better on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You on that
with
DualShock Foe?
with lightweight frames going away, that's gonna hurt that ducking in and out of cover, right? Because you're gonna have that lower. You're
Yeah.
not gonna get the mobility bonus,
Yep.
the extra speed.
Strafe speed. Yeah, so we haven't outright said it. 150s are being moved into the 140 RPM category, which means they're moving from lightweight frames to adaptive frames. And currently, and it continues to be this way on any other weapon, lightweight frames grant you a plus 20 mobility stat to your character.
Was it? I thought it was only 10. 20.
20.
20.
Plus 20
Pretty big.
on your character while you have it equipped. So specifically for hunters, that means it reduces your dodge cooldown while you have that weapon equipped. And it also increases your strafe speed. So
So Dire Promise, like that's has been
Yeah.
Dire and then Spare, right? But I
Yep.
feel like
it also
Dire-
increases
Dire
your sprint
Promise.
speed, by the way, which
Yeah.
there's not a lot of things in the game that do that.
Which is why I run around with Gold Tusk.
It's pretty noticeable. Like I didn't really think about it too much, but
20 is a lot. That's a
I
huge
threw on a shotgun the other day when we were playing that was a lightweight frame, and it was very noticeable to me the difference in your movement speed, just sprinting around and stuff. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So obviously let's not call it like, so the nerf in my mind, and this is where we're going to get into like a lot of differing opinions, but the nerf I think is removing the lightweight intrinsic perk of that mobility. I don't think moving them to a 140 rate of fire and then giving them that added range, like I think that in a lot of ways is a buff.
I would have really liked for them to be split, right? That some 140s would have lightweight frames and some 140s would have
Yeah.
adaptives. If they blanket they're all lightweight frames but they're 140s, I don't think that would be a good change. Just because having a lightweight frame is very beneficial and mobility in this game is king, and so to give that to the most commonly used class just across the board, I've said this a bunch of times and I'll probably say it again later in the episode when we get into some other details, but I want there to be more choices in the game of Destiny where there's a trade-off. And if you picked one hand cannon over the other because of either this one has better perks or this one is a lightweight frame, that's a choice you made because you either want the mobility or you want the stats. Because as it stands now, 140s tend to roll with more desired perks, we'll call it, versus 150s. And so 150s now being moved over into that adaptive frame. Had they left them as lightweight frames but changed them to 140 RPMs, you now have that choice of, do I want that quick draw snapshot or quick draw opening shot, whatever hand cannon, or do I want the one that used to be a 150 that doesn't have those perks but is a lightweight frame? That would have been cool for me, is to allow players to make that decision. But I don't think one way or another the blanket is a good idea, whether it's all adaptives, which is what they're going to be, but I don't think making them all lightweights would have been the correct decision either, because in my opinion, lightweight frames are the best frames.
I agree.
So you don't think that? So you don't necessarily think that the moving the rate of fire, giving him the extra range is necessarily that between that and the lightweight frame itself. That's not necessarily the best trade-off.
I just wish
but I
you
mean,
still had an option for a lightweight frame on a hand cannon, because there's no lightweight frame on auto rifles, there's no lightweight frames on snipers, and now there's not going to be any on hand cannons. And so there's just less options, because I typically like to run with lightweight frame weapons so that I get that extra boost to my movement speed. I can get around the map quicker. I do play Hunter, and at least in a straight line, linear direction, we do not have the same movement as the other two classes. You can argue that with dodge roll and things like triple jump, we can be a bit more mobile in the moment. But when it comes to getting from point A to point B, Warlocks and Titans can outpace you. And so having a lightweight frame in either a subclass that gives me an additional bump to sprint speed, being bottom tree Arcstrider, top tree Night Stalker, or running Stompies, gets my sprint speed up as high as I can possibly get, and it allows me to get to places still after top tree Dawnblade, but not incredibly slow.
Gamer, you were going to say something.
We're still talking about hand cannons, right?
Yeah, lightweight frames.
Okay, yeah. So lightweight frames.
Did you go on a vacation?
I was just I'm
He's
just
reading chat, man.
I'm just reading chat, man. All right, gosh, back
All
off.
right, fine.
No, I was just saying because the light frames are still staying in the game. They're just getting rid of them in hand cannons, right? So like that's like the thing, right? So yeah, I mean, so you don't have a gold tusk, former Guardian. Just run around gold tusk.
But that's obnoxious. Like
no, I know.
And like what Taka was saying too, ducking in and out of cover, like mobility is tied to strafe speed.
No, I know that. I was just being stupid.
You just being cute.
But as I was saying, like, first of all, I went back to just double check what 180s I've used. There really isn't a lot of 180s hand cannons that were out there. Truss was probably the most popular one. All the other ones were kind of like either you got it or you didn't. Like, there was some like year one that was there that I didn't think I ever used, but there was the Ecleos one, that hand cannon, or how do you guys pronounce that? Ikelos?
There you go.
Ecleos.
The Ecleos hand cannon, and then you had the one that came out on Shadowkeep, the Optative, whatever the hell it's called. So yeah, there wasn't really many 180s. So I think the only two I used were those two. But back to the light frames, yeah, you know, I think that move to one, like having a hand cannon be a light frame, I think just made it automatically a popular choice. So that at the beginning I was kind of like upset of the move of light frames off hand cannons. I was like, man, but think about it, like it's had its time to shine. I mean, like Spare Rations was probably the number one go-to gun when that thing came out. Midnight Coupe was also,
not because of the frame, right? Like
I think the frame is.
I think the frame. I think the frame gave it that help, dude.
I think a lot of people will be
like
very surprised when they pick up a 140 and they move noticeably slower.
Yeah,
I don't think they picked it up because of the lightweight frame. I think it was just like an added bonus, but it does, like, I feel like a big reason why you pick and use a gun, like we talked about a minute ago, like the numbers wise it can be good on paper or whatever, but really it comes down to how does the gun feel when I'm actually playing with it, using it in a game. And that bonus 20 mobility that you get from using a lightweight frame weapon just makes the gameplay feel better.
Yeah.
It's just the movement speed's crispier, strafing's crispier, faster. You win more gunfights because you can strafe faster. You're a little bit more difficult to hit. Things you're not really necessarily thinking about, but because you're using that gun with that frame, it is giving you those added benefits.
Yeah, psychologically just feels
exactly,
better.
and that's what I'm getting at. Like, think about it. Like, you had Midnight Coupe, Spare Rations, and Dire Promise. Those are probably the three most popular hand cannons since Destiny's came out that you've probably seen the most, right? Like, inside of Crucible, inside anywhere else, and those are all light frames. So that's where I'm getting at, Beard. Like it made that decision a lot easier. Like, I had a god roll old fashioned, but when I got my good roll Dire Promise, I put that thing in the vault. Like, it just made that much of a difference. Like, having that light frame, versus what is it? Adaptive is old fashioned. Right. So just that made a huge difference into your gameplay. Like you said, you get that added mobility, especially as a hunter, and then you can strafe that. It just made that gun way more popular. Why do you think a lot of people use Dire Promise more? You know what I mean? So
Why do so many
so
Titans
that's
complain about Stompies? It's literally the same thing. It
Yeah,
increases your
yeah.
mobility and your sprint speed, and like that additional movement is enough to piss off the Cran Eaters. So
exactly.
that's what light frames do for you.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I am upset. I mean, I am a little saddened that the light frames are going away of hand cannons because you said, Former Guardian, like there really isn't a whole lot of options out there for us to use light frame weapons. I'm a huge fan of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I prefer my 7 Seraph shotgun over my Phil Winters.
Bleh.
Because I
I
love
don't
running.
know why you do.
I love running that. Well, because I also had a God roll Partial Stardust, so it's like, you know what I mean? It just having that mobility extra, like, just makes a huge difference in my eyes in the way I play. So, like,
Helps you close the gaps
taking
faster.
that. Yeah, so, like, taking that. So, now taking that away from hand cannons, yeah, for sure. You're kind of like, you're limiting us to, like, how much light frames we can use in the game. But, I don't know. I mean, the changes on hand cannons are, for sure, interesting. Like there's a lot of hand cannons out there I'll probably pull out that they're just stuck in my vault. Obviously some exotic ones that we've just already mentioned that we're gonna probably
exotic hand cannons, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of good exotic hand cannons that like were good but will probably be like really good next season.
Thorn,
Ace of Spades, dude. Like
Ace is gonna be nuts. I think Thorn might be more nuts.
No, it is.
Thorn
Thorn
might be like nuts right here on your
forehead. So it's crazy. Like when they said, so they brought up
using Thorn.
They brought up. No, hold on. I think they're going to use Sunshot. Like after they brought up Sunshot, I pulled it out and I was like, let me see how. Dude, I've been sleeping on Sunshot like for a long time since like because we have so many hand cannons. Like Sunshot right now is actually pretty freaking good. Like I'm shocked how like good this gun was. Like I've used it a couple of times, a lot in PvE, a little very minimum in PvP. But the other day when I was using it, like it's a really good hand cannon. I mean, really good. So I want to sleep on that one either.
I want to throw this out there to you guys, and I want to pose a question, but I want to give a little bit of background first. So, you guys know I didn't use a lot of hand cannons in D1, mainly just because I think legendary hand cannons, as far as getting a good roll, has been the most challenging thing for me in all of Destiny. I just have terrible rolls on all of my legendary hand cannons. I don't know why. Palindrome was the first one that I got that was great, but surprise, surprise, it came straight from the vendor. 140s in Destiny 1 were the go-to hand cannons. Yep. But like heavily. Nobody touched 110s. Ill Will was like, cool, you gonna just throw bricks at everybody the entire time? Like, you brought a brick to a gunfight. Yeah, I know you did.
I also ran Blade Dancer with arc bolt grenades, and they were strong, so you'd check a grenade and one-tap somebody and walk away.
Well, there you go.
So that was why.
You're just a build mindset kind of person.
I was a troll.
I know you would like to. So point being, 140s were the meta hands down in Destiny 1. And this wasn't my own homework. I didn't go back and find this out, but I was watching a Cool Guy video, and he talked about how there was so much bloom back in D1. And I do remember this. I do remember ghost bullets being like a massive thing. I remember streamers talking about it. I remember people like walking away from Destiny 1 just because of the RNG tied to your shot, basically. And within range, too. It wasn't even necessarily because you're outside of range. Like, ghost bullets, 100% a thing.
Don't play CSGO then.
Yeah, seriously.
There's still ghost bullets in CSGO. You just have to stand perfectly still. You can't move.
Don't move. How dare you?
Dumb. So, the ghost bullet situation, combined with the fact that 150s had much less range, but they were way more forgiving. Or no, sorry, not more forgiving. They were way more strict. You needed 3 headshots to get a kill, whereas with 140s, you could have a body shot. It was 2 heads and a body. I think might have even been 2 bodies and a head.
2 bodies and a head in D1.
So 2 bodies and a head. Okay.
That's why nobody used 150s.
So 140s had more range. They were way more lenient. Technically 150s, just like now in D2, killed faster in D1, but because you needed all 3 headshots and the range was so much closer, coupled with the ghost bullet situation, nobody touched 150s in D1. Now, that being said, I saw a tweet over the weekend that said moving 150s to 140s essentially lowers the skill ceiling. Like 140s were the meta in D1. Like, tons of people like to look at D1 with rose-colored glasses, thinking that that was the best game ever created. It was so much better than D2. There are things that D1 did better, granted. I think there are a lot of things that D2 does better. But that 140s that was the high skill gun in D1. So I wanted to see if you guys agree with that sentiment in lowering essentially the skill ceiling by moving everything to 140s.
I will say that I think where he's coming from, or she, not to assume genders, but I think this person, because I had this same concern when I read the TWAB, is that effectively by lowering the overall optimal TTK of primary weapons, you're giving light to special weapons to better shine. Like, think of right now the times where you have a shotgun rusher running at you, and you're putting shots into him, and he pulls the trigger and kills you, and he has a sliver left, like you just weren't quite able to kill him before he closed the gap. It's a lot easier for him to do that if it takes you another 0.1 seconds to kill him. So that has been my concern with the way that this adjustment is. We're going to talk about sniper changes in a second. No changes across the board at all to fusions or shotguns. So as far as it lowering the skill ceiling, I mean, you have to hit the same amount of shots on your hand cannon. You still have to be consistent with your shots across any other weapon with a primary. My only concern is that special weapons do tend to be the less skilled required weapon. And when you nerf primary weapons and their ability to kill quickly, then it gives rise to, or rather, it causes people to migrate towards those weapons. Like, who in here outside of me runs anything but either a shotgun or a sniper equipped? TTaka occasionally uses a fusion, right? But you always have one or the other equipped, right? You always have either a shotgun or a sniper. Why?
Almost always, yeah.
Because you're
Unless
kind
we're
of
swapping it out
stupid
for
to
grenade
not.
launcher.
Right? Okay, the occasional grenade launcher. But, like, you go into any match and you go down the list of everybody in that lobby, they probably have either a shotgun or a sniper equipped, yes or no?
Yeah.
And it's just because of how strong they are. And so it's definitely a concern that lowering time to kills on primary weapons gives you even more reason to want to use those. But I don't think that's necessarily a reason not to make the changes they're doing, because I think overall this puts primaries on more even terrain across the board. Like, I think pulse rifles are going to have an opportunity to shine this next season. I think hand cannons are still going to be good. I think autos are still going to be the go-to as far as leniency goes, and that you can consistently get shots and hit that optimal TTK almost all the time with them, because you can hit a few body shots and end up on the head as you're adjusting your recoil. So I think they're good changes, but I am personally concerned that I'm going to see more shotgunners next season than I already do, and that's not fun.
We do have to look at it holistically, because there are other changes, right? It's not just the hand cannon changes. But by saying that we're lowering the skill ceiling, that essentially means that we're making the game easy.
I don't think so.
No, because I think there's more options now.
Yeah.
I think right now using a pulse rifle, you're probably at a disadvantage in most gunfights, especially against a 600 RPM auto. Next season, not so much.
Here's my thing. Like, I just feel like you'll see an overall balance everywhere else. You know what I mean? Like, I feel you're not lowering the skill gap. I think we're just getting into the part where we've been talking about. Look, like, I want to bring out my Randy's throwing knife, but like, where does it compete in today's meta? Like, it doesn't. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like lowering, like, doing all these changes to these guns and stuff can make that gun actually compete. Sadly, it's getting sunsetted, but like Randy's throwing knife, when I got that thing, was one of my favorite scouts. Like, it's a really great scout, feels great. It's got a really good range. It's got some really good perks. You know what I mean? But where like I dismantle that thing because it does not compete anywhere right now. You know what I mean? So I just feel like overall you're balancing all these weapons where like now you can go into Crucible and like your fear of like seeing more shotguns, I think you will see more. Yeah, you might see more shotguns, but you'll probably see more like, you know, a pulse rifle and a shotgun. You'll see a scout and a shotty. You know what I mean? Like I think you'll see more variety of weapons being used.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see any more shotguns and such than you see
Yeah.
now because everybody's already using them.
Yeah, but snipers are also getting a little tuned, which whether or not
Look.
that's going to have a big impact. I just think it's going to be easier to shotgun rush next season compared to this because TTKs are a bit slower, and I think people are going to lend themselves to using a shotgun over a sniper if they do feel the effects of the changes that they plan on making. So,
last
And because
word-
of the stupid Titan exotic.
oh yeah, that too. Let's just give him an overshield.
My last word already does pew pew pew. So as long as they can keep doing that, I'll be happy.
Okay, gamer, I gotta ask you this, man.
What up?
I love you, right? We're homies. Some could say we're friends, right? Would be a word that could be used to describe a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Friends care about friends, man. And I just gotta ask you, in a Destiny 2 universe where nearly every single sidearm outclasses Last Word in every single way, what keeps you coming back to it, man?
See,
Dude, he on the sticks, man. His
I
last
think
word.
last
First of
word's
all, yeah.
still really good.
yeah. First of all, I'm on the sticks.
You literally
and second of all,
cannot kill more
hold on.
than one Guardian with it.
Hold on.
Can't do it.
He has dodge roll.
I don't know. I've killed both of you guys
Without
back to
reloading,
back,
you
like-
can't kill more than one person. with
Here's
just
my
Last
thing.
Word.
Last Word is the only hand cannon that feels like a sidearm. I'll just do it like that.
Yeah, so why not use a sidearm?
Dude, Last Word. I feel like a space cowboy. I already told you that.
The
He does it-
animations, man. The
Dude,
spinning
animation, the
gun,
spinning, the whipping it out, like I mean,
You heard
the
it here
gun is
first.
just
Gamer likes to whip it
amazing.
out.
Whip it.
I like to whip it out, you know, show my opponents what they're about to die to, you know. So
And that is, when you whip it out, that is the last word that was spoken. That's just like,
yeah, I mean, Last Word. Let's see. My go-to hand cannon before Last Word, the exotic was Crimson. Loved it. I mean, amazing. But once you get Last
Astacross
Word,
thinks Crimson is getting buffed. Like, according to
yeah,
him, it's a
oh,
140.
it's gonna be it's gonna be like right now. I think Crimson
It
is
is a
the only
140.
hand cannon that could compete after when they nerfed the range, what we were talking about earlier with the hand cannons.
It's getting a range buff, yeah.
Yeah, so now that it's getting like Crimson. It was the only thing that was like just as good. Was probably the only hand cannon that was good like long distance wise currently. So like now with the changes they're making to it, like it's gonna be even more deadlier. Like I mean, it is gonna be
I think it will be, yeah.
a really really good hand cannon. Like
So you're saying it fits in the 140 archetype?
Yeah.
That's what the rumor is.
That's
Like,
what the
has that
rumor
been
is.
confirmed anywhere?
If you do the math, because it fires 3 rounds and the rate of fire it has, it's like 138 point something rounds per minute. So, yeah. We're pretty confident it's a 140.
we're just amazing, dude.
Because
It
that
just
would be
sounds
lame
awesome.
if it didn't get.
I mean, it's not a
Yeah,
150.
so it's a 415 round per minute. It shoots a 3 burst. So if you take the 415 divided by 3, you get 138.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I would make it closest to a 140, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the range tweaks and stuff will affect it like it would other 140s. Like maybe it will.
Well, we
but
know it's
there's
not a
no-
precision because of the way it recoils and because of its in-air accuracy, because that's inherent to precision. So it's either a 140 or it's a 150.
So then, like, what about like last
I mean,
word?
a 120.
What-
So you're not thinking it's just a standalone
25,
archetype?
dude.
right?
No,
like
that's not a thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't fit in any of the other archetypes. So where does the last word fit in with things like that? Is it gonna get any of these kind of range buffs, or is it in its own box, its own category?
I'm sure it'll get it. I'm sure it'll get a range buff.
Like I'm just curious, does it fall in any of these blankets of like the 120s, the 140s, or the 180s?
I would think
Even though it is a
140.
225 technically.
Are you talking about Last Word or Crimson?
Last word.
Last word at 225.
I don't know if I think that one for sure is its own standalone archetype. I think they would have to adjust that one.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's the only full auto hand cannon right now.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's what I'm saying. Crimson's the only 3 burst thing, you know. So like,
Ariana's
just
Vow is
'cause
the
it has-
same way. It's a 90.
Ariana's Vow is a 90 RPM. So
I just
that's
think it
my
would be
question is-
sad if Crimson didn't get some love,
I think
right?
it
Like
will.
if it didn't get the love that other.
Yeah, well,
140s
I mean, even if you put it on its own category, I mean, you could see like it would actually still be compete. I mean, right now, I think there's just other hand cannons that can outshine the Crimson. But like coming into next season, when all these change with the other hand cannons, that's what I'm getting at. Where like you could see that gun being more lethal.
I think it falls under the category 140, and I think we'll see it get a damage buff.
I think it'd be good. A range buff, you mean?
Yeah, range, not damage.
It has a lot of range.
So-
So imagine more range on that.
A lot of it all of this really we're gonna need all of these buffs and nerfs and stuff in hand to see really how things are gonna shape up. Overall though, I do think that losing the lightweight frame in and of itself, it does kind of suck. But I do think moving 150s to 140s opens up the floodgates for way more options. Because 150s were just so good by themselves, there wasn't a point to use anything else. 140s were never bad. It's just there wasn't a point to them because 150s were a thing. So I think overall it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Snipers are next up on the chopping block. Any Drewski fans? This was the first mention that I've ever heard of any type of cone in a TWAB. So whether that was Drewski or firing range or somebody at Bungie has listened to him and threw the cones in there.
Like, all right, fine, they figured it out. We'll just call a spade a spade.
Which is kind of cool though. I thought that was a cool little homage. But yeah, so the lower aim assist cones, or sorry, the lower zoom snipers are having a reduction in their aim assist cone. So less bullet magnetism, essentially, for the low zoom scopes. Which we've talked about how Revoker, even though it doesn't have the highest aim assist, quote unquote, because the way the short zoom scopes play into like the background and stuff, like the secret sauce, you could hit some crazy stupid snipes because even though on paper they didn't, they actually had really high aim assist. Right? I think we've either mentioned that on the show or just playing the game or something. But
it's hard to explain without having an image of this idea of a cone, but the cone expands out from the barrel and gets wider. And so having a shorter zoom, it's starting to widen out sooner than other snipers. And so you're getting into, even though the number that says aim assist on the weapon is lower, your cone at a given range, say 20, 30 meters, is going to be wider than one that has a longer zoom, and that cone is starting to expand further out from your character, if that makes sense. So this adjustment is to help counteract that and to have the aim assist stat on the weapon play a bigger role in how much aim assist the weapon actually has, not as much the zoom of the scope. Geometry 101.
Question for Taka. You like low zoom scopes. You and I were unapologetically massive Revoker fans.
I think everybody likes low zoom scopes.
Yeah.
But yes.
Okay, yes. So you and I have gone on the record as to say that even without the stupid perk that gives you a benefit for missing shots, even without that perk, you and I have said that we would still use Revoker over any other sniper in the gun. The archetype allows you to one-shot supers, the super low zoom. Yeah, that's kind of it. The one-shot, the supers, and the low zoom. Those are the reasons why we love Revoker so much. Not
high body shot damage.
High body shot damage.
Very
absolutely.
high body shot damage.
So,
yeah.
Were you at all concerned moving forward when a couple TWABs ago, like months ago, they mentioned like, oh, we're going to be taking a look at sniper zoom, like the scope zooms, basically. I immediately thought like, great, this means we're probably going to be moving away from low zoom scopes. Destiny's maps are just so small that they don't cater to a longer zoom. This to me, though, and I don't know if you agree, this to me doesn't necessarily mean that we won't see another 35 zoom scope.
No,
Like which to me was a
I
good
think it's
thing.
possible. Yeah,
I think
Like-
45 zoom is going to be the sweet spot.
it might be. And a lot of the popular like replacements to Revoker and Beloved that aren't getting sunset are kind of in that 45, right? Zoom.
Yes.
I
slot.
think we'll still see
So-
40 zooms.
Oh,
Maybe,
I mean,
maybe a
again,
35 occasionally.
it's just going to depend on how those guns feel, how the changes feel, especially with a stat like aim assist. Aim assist is consistency. You know, you're not directly affecting damage or like handling or anything like that. It's literally just how the gun feels and how consistent it is when you're taking those shots, how consistently you hit those headshots, even if you're not 100% on target. And so they said it's going to be what they say. Did they give any numbers? No, they just
Nope.
said it's a large reduction in the angle.
For lower zoom.
So,
yeah.
like, it could feel awful. Like, you could feel like you just miss everything. Or maybe it doesn't feel as bad as we think it might. Like, it's just hard to say, especially without having numbers, just kind of a base. It's going to have a large reduction in that cone.
So the lower zooms aren't going to have as much secret sauce. But to me, if there's still a low zoom option to use in a close quarters map, like that's a 72 RPM that has really great body shot damage, like I still think, at least for now, I think I'd still lean towards something like that. Just because all that means is you're going to have to be, like, you're actually going to have the reticle on the head. Like, the bullet's not going to bend as much towards the person's head.
Right.
That's a fair trade-off, I think. Like, I think
Honest,
a lot of guns in the game could probably do with flinching.
yeah. Honestly, like, I love snipers. Super fun to use. Probably my go-to special weapon in almost every game I play. But I think it's probably a needed change. I think as fun as snipers are, they can also be very unfun to play against, especially if they are very forgiving. I think they're supposed to be that super precision, high risk, high reward type of gun. And so I think reducing that aim assist, making them, you can still one tap supers, with the right archetypes, you can still one shot headshot anybody with the gun. You just have to be a little bit more precise. It's going to be a little bit less forgiving. Probably going to miss more shots than you did before. But I think that's probably a good thing.
I would tend to agree. Because you're going to have to be more precise. It's not just going to give you headshots when you clearly didn't get them. The thing is, though, like you mentioned, it should be high risk, high reward, but there's really no downside to using a sniper rifle these days, especially with just the absolutely atrocious flinch mechanic.
I think it depends.
Flinch is such a horrible mechanic that, like, there's really
It depends
not a
on the
reason to
map.
not use a
It depends
sniper.
on what you're playing against. You're playing on Anomaly. Yeah, there's probably some downsides to using a sniper.
Yeah, but I didn't clip it because I didn't want to be that guy. But I was using Ace of Spades, just gearing up for the change for 140s. I remember specifically on Burnout, you were on the freaking pedestal thing, like way back where heavy spawns. And I'm on the steps off to the side in one of the rooms, and I had 2 headshots on you with Memento Mori, with high cal rounds. And after 2 direct headshots, you still were able to hit me in the head through all of that quote-unquote flinch, if there was any. And so I don't know if the changes to aim assist is going to inherently change flinch somehow, but flinching people into your head is probably one of the worst feelings in this game right now. Like, you giving somebody a headshot because you shot them first with your gun and they were aimed at your chest is the worst thing in this game. Like, I think that might even be worse than Mountaintop. I'm going to throw it out there. Like, it's probably up there. But I don't know if this aim assist change is going to change that at all. I do.
So
think
this has always been a thing, though, right? Like, they haven't changed the way flinch and stuff work anytime recently, have they?
I don't think they've changed
Supposedly
flinch
this
since
changes
Destiny.
was
But, like, I've only ever heard people complaining about the whole flinching into a headshot, like, recently.
That's because people started noticing it, and there's content creators who have made videos of like shooting an auto rifle at somebody who's pointed their sniper at somebody's feet and watching it just track right up to the face. And
bounce up.
And then when it gets there, like, just it moves it towards the head, towards the crit spot. And so it's something that was suspected a few months back.
So
a lot of people.
what do
have
you mean, though?
confirmed
It moves it towards the crit spot? Like,
So the flinch mechanic, you take damage and it bounces your reticle in any given direction. It could
Okay.
bounce it to the side, it
Supposedly.
could bounce it up, it just kind of moves it.
so if I'm
And
aimed
with
right at your
weapons-
head, if I'm aimed right at your head with my sniper rifle and you shoot me and you flinch me up or to the side or whatever, how is that putting me?
because it comes back to your head.
But because of the way aim assist works, especially because aim assist is bullet magnetism. And so if you're aimed slightly lower than my head, just because you scoped in and you just happen to be a little bit off and I hit you and it bumps your reticle up and now it's on my head or within that cone of accuracy, the accuracy cone, and you pull the trigger, then effectively I shot you and your reticle bounced up and then the aim assist curved the bullet into my head, basically. Like, it's definitely a thing. I mean, we talk about, like, you flinched me into your head all the time. Like, that always comes up on our
I have
matches.
2 clips from the same exact game where Beard flinched me into sniping him. If you go frame by frame,
I mean, maybe it's just me, but I feel like since this has become a thing and since people are talking about it more and it's, oh yeah, people get flinched in the head, I feel like we tend to blame things on that more than maybe it really is, potentially. Like, if you shoot me and I flinch up and then half a second later I pull back down and then I shoot you, you might think, oh, I flinched you into my head, but in reality, I had already just recovered from the flinch, came back down, and then I popped you.
It calls into for me, it calls into
It's like
question
with
the
cheaters, right? We blame everything on cheaters these days because cheaters are rampant and we just blame everything on cheaters.
see, but the problem isn't that every time you engage a sniper and you're putting shots into him, it's going to make them get a headshot as much as it makes it harder for you to engage them. Because, yeah, if you were
Yes.
on my head, I hit you once and you corrected for it, that's different than it still guiding you. The fact is that it guides the shot.
So my understanding, and I've never had this confirmed, I've just always understood the flinch mechanic to be tied to damage. And I know that there's examples of how that's probably not the case. But for me, that scenario specifically with the hand cannon, big chunk damage, and the perk high caliber rounds, it just kind of calls into question the point of that perk. Like, if I'm so precise, I'm hitting you for high damage, I have high cal rounds, and you're still able to recover within my shots from the mechanic to get the headshot, it's like, well, for me, it makes snipers that much more difficult to engage. Like,
So what you're saying is if I have high caliber rounds, it should be impossible for you to headshot me
not
if I'm shooting at you.
necessarily. It just makes me wonder what the point of the perk is.
Because I run around with my summoner with high caliber rounds and people are constantly like, I can't hit you because I'm flinched because your auto rifle with high caliber rounds is insane.
Yeah, but because if
I don't
you're
know.
zooming in and scoping in on the head, and then you get flinched, then you're bounced off the head. But if you scope it on the chest, and you get high caliber rounds up into the head, then that's the sucky part of the mechanic. Yeah, because essentially it like rewards a kill for like a misplaced shot. I mean, it's a random chance. It takes you shooting me and me being off aim, but it still could reward me with a kill essentially. Just because that's the way the mechanic's working.
So how do you fix that then? Like if
Rework flinch. Completely.
Like,
the
what
way
do you
it
mean,
stands
rework
now, Throw it
flinch?
in the
Like-
garbage.
I
Phil and
just
I
don't
talked
get
a
it.
lot about this over the weekend.
I think I don't think flinch is the solution. Is my personal take on it, because flinch feels bad, and we don't want the person using the sniper to have that not feel good. We all play Destiny because the gun game feels good. It feels good to shoot weapons. The aim assist helps it feel smoother, and I don't think flinch is the right solution. I don't think it should drag your reticle towards the head, which it definitely does now, and you can look up a ton of videos where people have tested it out, where it's not just flinch jars your reticle, it literally will drive it up to the head. So I say, like, I know Cool Guy specifically has a video where he's pointing his sniper at the guy's toes, and his auto rifle puts it up onto his head. And it's just like, that's literally assisting me in getting a kill. And he was doing it to the other person. He had him record it, and so he just said, after a couple seconds, pull your trigger. He started shooting him, his reticle went up, and he headshot him. The guy wasn't pulling on the sticks, wasn't aiming or anything. So, like, I think that needs to be adjusted. In my personal opinion, I don't think flinch should be in the game. I think rather than flinch, there should be some kind of a visual cue, visual effect that happens to the person receiving damage, to where, as a sniper, maybe it's jarring your vision. It's not moving your reticle. Reticle's stagnant. It's jarring your vision. Screen shake, something to where you as a sniper might be like, I don't want to take that shot. I want to save the ammo because I'm not sure on it, and you duck back behind cover. But something that can entice you as somebody engaging a sniper to cause them to disengage. Or if they do take the shot, they're having to do it through the visual effects. And if they hit the snipe, they hit the snipe. Like, sucks to be you. But I don't think flinch is a good mechanic, in my personal opinion, whether you're using a sniper, whether you're using a primary. Because I have been up against TTaka's summoner while I'm using a primary. Specifically. And it feels bad, because his summoner, it's a 600 RPM. It's hitting me every 0.1 seconds. And there is more aggressive flinch with high cal rounds. And so when I'm using either my bow or a sidearm or hand cannon or whatever I'm using, and he flinches me off enough to where I miss one shot, my TTK
all
shot.
Three of those weapon types, none of them are special. I think that has a big role to play. Like, going up against primary weapon types, I think flinch is it's a totally different ballgame. But against snipers specifically, for whatever reason, it just feels like you can't contend against them. That was my whole point with this whole aim assist thing and snipers. I'm just talking about how I hope this in some way affects the way the flinch mechanic's working.
We'll see. For me personally,
but all of those weapon types you just mentioned for me are all primaries. So I mean,
yeah. And my point in saying that is, flinch just feels bad. Doesn't matter what I'm using. If I'm getting flinched, I'm not happy about it. Like, that's why I think there should be more of a visual effect rather than it's affecting my aim directly. There's a mechanic that's screwing up my aim, and so I can't outplay the person if the game is forcing me off of it. So, you know, with this change to snipers, me personally, the concept of reducing the aim assist is what makes weapons feel good. I don't want people who use snipers to feel like they feel worse, if that makes sense. I don't want them to pick one up. Because right now, when have you ever been using a sniper, had your reticle on somebody's face, pulled the trigger, walked away, saw the kill feed, and went, wait, why didn't I get that kill? Doesn't happen, right? It certainly doesn't happen. Like, you're also never off of the face. You click the button, and it's like, that gave me that kill. I was way over his shoulder, right? So
I don't know.
We don't want to get to that point where either of those things are happening. So I don't think the aim assist is... Now, granted, they're doing it based on the zoom, right? So it's like what we talked about. Revoker has a lower stat, but technically has higher aim assist because of the way zoom works. So it's meant to make adjustments for that. But I would have liked to see something more along the lines of not flinch related, but some kind of mechanic that allows somebody to better engage a sniper, not just making snipers feel worse, right? Like, give somebody an opportunity or a reason to engage without screwing up the sniper's aim or just nerfing the sniper. But, you know,
that was my thing. It's just they seem very difficult to contend against these days. I don't feel like I can pick up very many weapons and feel good about going against a sniper. That was it.
True.
Gamer, what are you thinking about flinch though? I mean, I know it's not in the TWAB, it's not directly mentioned. I just think at some level the aim assist changes might affect it. Do you dig flinch the way it is? Do you think it needs to be tweaked at all?
Like, sniping wise, like, I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know about Taco, dude, but I mean, I'm a hardcore sniping main just like him, and there's a lot of times when I'm like in a gunfight and I'm like, thank you for shooting me because I just popped you right in the freaking face. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I don't feel like that happens as frequently as we think it does. Maybe I think I also go as sniping as well. Like, I don't think it happens really more frequently as people say, "Oh, look at that!" Like every time I shoot him, he like pops me in the face. I don't think that happens. Also, I
feel like
feel
we've
like
kind of
occasionally, uh huh.
I feel like we've kind of blended, like, oh, you flinched me into sniping you, and oh, I sniped you while I was being flinched. Like those two things are different. Like, oh, my aim was off and you shot me up and I hit your head, or like I was saying earlier, like, oh, I was on your head and you shot me and I went up and I pulled back down and I hit you in the head. Like, I feel like we just kind of blended all those scenarios and cases into just the one thing of, oh, like, yep, you flinched me into that headshot.
You might be right. We're kind of making a
that's what
boogeyman out of it.
and that's what I'm getting at. You know, like I don't feel like every gunfight I do, I'm like, we do private matches, and you're like, what? Like I hit you, like I'm like, dude, and I looked at it, I saw you, I popped you in the face, like, and then there's times when you guys were shooting me, and I popped you, like, I I don't think it happens as frequently as we think it does, but obviously it does happen. We've seen it, we've witnessed it, even when in our own private matches. But I mean, snipers in general. I mean, to set the debate of all, Badass Gaming once said, and I actually agree with what he said. He said, the debate between shotgunning and sniping. Shotguns, he said, is when you're running with a shotgun, you have a high risk and high reward. And a sniper feels like it's a low risk, high reward, which I agree. Like, I totally agree. Because, I mean, if you're sitting in the back and, you can get that shot, boom, you get the pop, you know what I mean? And then you're sitting in the back, there's no engaging you, you know what I mean? A shotgun, you're in their face, you're in their nutsack, you're like trying to get a kill in there, you know what I mean? So the chances of you running and getting that kill, well, until Beyond Light, you can run around with those gauntlets and just as a Titan main and get as much as kills you want. But anyway, so that's probably like
for 20 seconds.
For 20 seconds and then pop it again. But anyway, so that's obviously where I look at shotgunning and sniping, and I agree 100%. Even though for me, I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm more of like, I love swapping to my sniper and then popping that kill. That for me feels more is getting a kill that way than just like sitting in the back. Like I'll do it every now and then, but like I'm usually like, you guys see me, I'm usually out with my last sword trying to get kills with it, and then swap over and then boom, get the shot. Like that's the way I love playing sniping, which is why I always look for a quick draw snapshot that has it, which is why I'm using Dragon Shadow now, because like I don't have that on my Omniscient Eye, which by the way is an amazing sniper. It's probably my replacement for Beloved for now. Great sniper, by the way. Like the zoom feels great.
Your Omniscient Eye?
Yeah, it's I since I masterworked that thing, like I haven't taken it off. So, but yeah, I mean there's a lot more to talk about, but sniping, I feel like, well, from what Guardian was saying, like if someone was already used to it, you don't want them to feel like now they're like sucking at it because the aim assist or not. I still think sniping's still going to be pretty good. I feel like if you're a good sniper, like it will still feel good regardless. So that's just my opinion on that.
And that's not a bad change. Like forcing you to actually be precise with your shot, that's not
at all. Not at all. Which is why I'm not using, like, my numbness has got the crappiest rolls, like, and it has Dragonfly and Outlaw.
But the aim assist on 140s is through the roof. That's the thing. That's why that feels so good. Right? The 140s have the highest aim assist on snipers.
And supposedly this change is going to tweak it slightly depending on that zoom factor. So,
yeah,
see how that feels. But
yeah.
Anyways.
We have 600. So let's just call it like it is. Gnawing Hunger. But then others, right? There's your et al. You have Summoner, yeah, the Gallard, whatever other 600 RPMs that people are using. For me, it's always just been Summoner Gnawing Hunger.
Suros.
Oh yeah, Soros. Oh yeah, I guess Hardlight's a thing too, huh?
Hardlight.
Awkward.
Arclight is a thing.
So they're dropping the bullet damage. Meaning what that means is even your body shots have a multiplier. It's your bullet damage with the multiplier, right? The body shot damage multiplier is less than the headshot damage multiplier. So I don't understand why they didn't just give us body shot and headshot damage reductions, or like did the math into the TWAB. So it's not exactly spelled out in the TWAB how much of a reduction this is.
Yeah.
With the multipliers. But Former is feeling that if this puts auto rifles somewhere between 0.8 and a 0.9, probably closer to a 0.9 TTK, that this will actually be a pretty substantial change and hone in the 600s.
Not knowing how much damage they do, it's going to depend on a per headshot to per body shot ratio of how quick it can kill, but it should either move it from a 0.7 to either a 0.8 or a 0.9.
And this is
takes
bringing
9
them
bullets versus 10 bullets.
That sounds like a massive change. And in a game where like milliseconds do actually count, and then like the servers, netcode and stuff like that can make or break a gunfight. That sounds like a big reduction, but really all that's doing is just bringing 600s and 150s, let's say hand cannons, in line with pretty much all the other TTKs in the game. Like we're just roping them back in. They're so far ahead of the pack. I don't know if this is going to be enough of a change. Like, Gnawing Hunger's not going to suck next season.
No,
Especially with Kill Clip, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, we don't know exactly like the damage or the numbers that, what we're gonna see with ARs. I don't really feel like it was really that specific. For me, ARs just kind of feel like up in the air still. Obviously, they'll still
agree.
be. I still feel like they'll still be good. I mean, they'll be usable. Obviously, like I don't think, with the hand cannons, change and stuff like that. I don't still think, ARs are going to be worthless after reading this. I still feel like they'll be really, really good. So I don't see them going away.
Taka, you are a much heavier AR user, I think, than out of the four of us. What are you thinking with this change?
Again, hard to know specifically because we don't have the specific numbers and TTKs and whatnot. But overall, I think 600s needed a slight nerf. I don't think they should be nerfed into the ground. I think they just need a little tweak to put them in line with some of the other weapons in the game. And it sounds like this might be the change that does that, and I hope it is. I'd love to continue to be able to use like my summoner and stuff, and still have it feel pretty good and be competitive. But
don't you just get tired of it? Don't you just want to use a different gun sometimes?
I do use different guns. I use different guns every freaking match we play. Almost.
Only because we make you.
No, Taka switches his loadout more than most of us.
Former Guardian's the one who sits on, Layman Arc and
I'll switch to other bows, but my character always has a bow in his hand, so there's not a lot of variety with that. It's usually a hand cannon, SMG, or sidearm. So
no, I try and mix it up, but I do really enjoy using my summoner, and I feel like a big reason is because it is really good. It's really strong right now, and so I do hate seeing everybody in a 12-man Crucible lobby using Gnawing Hunger. So I'm excited for a nerf to hopefully reduce that. I love variety in the game. I want different people to use different guns. I don't like when everybody uses the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that all four of us agree on every single time. Like, all of us want everybody to feel like you can pick pretty much any archetype from any weapon family and be decent with it. Like, we like 3v3, we like elimination, we like trials, but that's not all we're about. And so there's going to be a competitive meta, but we don't want to feel like we're getting punished for picking up like a 720 RPM auto rifle instead of a 600, which right now it does feel that way.
At least my Randy's okay.
Hey, your scouts are getting some love here too.
Yep, they will.
So if anything, I hope to change the 600 RPM auto rifles. I just hope that means there's more of a reason to use at least other auto rifles. At the bare minimum, mix it up a little bit. And then yeah, scouts. I mean, essentially just more aim assist, right? Like I don't know if I've misunderstood the changes to scout rifles or not, but
Yeah, I mean, there really wasn't. I mean, scouts with ARs feel the same way to me. I mean, I just feel like scouts might have a chance to reign just because of the just everything around it as well. That's why I just kept saying like you might see a more variety of other weapons just because everywhere around you is like getting, you know, getting neutered. So I feel like scouts for sure. I feel like Jade Rabbit's gonna be really really good. I know we talk. I mean,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no. You're saying?
I was going to say, so the change is they're increasing the percentage of the aim assist cone increasing based upon the aim assist stat of the gun.
they're widening it. Yeah.
So the higher the aim assist stat is on the scout rifle, the even wider that cone's going to get for each point. I'll just say this: Mida multi-tool has a 100 aim assist, so
It's getting secret sauce.
it's gonna
I
have
feel good.
the biggest increase from this change because of that.
If it were a burger, you would probably need like 40 napkins. That's how much sauce it's gonna have.
And I'd say already, Mida's probably one of the best, if not the best, scout rifle in the game.
It still puts in work right now.
Well, so that's
Because
kind of my thing. Yeah.
I say you keep your radar while you're aiming, which is pretty cool.
It
You
looks
get it's got high cal flinchies.
You move faster than lightweight frame.
Yeah, you got the movement
Yeah.
speed buff. So I might and it shoots fast. Like, it just has a lot already going for it. So I wouldn't be surprised next season if you see some people pulling the Mida out of the collections, out of the vault, and using that a little bit
Randy's
more.
to 63.
So the thing with scout rifles though, and this was my take when I saw the changes. It's like, okay, cool, they're gonna get some extra secret sauce. They're gonna be like Former was saying, aim assist is just like how good the gun quote unquote feels. Scouts are gonna feel better. There's like maybe 2 maps out of every single map in the game that you could make an argument that is a good scout rifle map. I think the maps are a way bigger issue with scout rifles than the weapon type itself. And in the TWAB, it even talks about how like there's not really many ways that Bungie can tweak scout rifles without literally just breaking the game with them. Like that's how close they are to being. That's how good they actually are. But it's just none of our maps cater. Like I've always seen scouts as like a long range hand cannon, in a way. Their rate of fires are somewhat similar. The way that they play are kind of similar. They're kind of just like a rangy kind of a, peek in and out kind of a weapon. The thing is, though, is none of our maps cater to them, which is really the reason why people don't use them. So I don't know, like, if they can change scouts enough to make people use them, to be honest.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm probably gonna have to bail, unfortunately. Kids up and my wife needs me, so I may be bailing on the discussion here. But may be back, may not. But I'm gonna take my leave. Let you guys keep chatting about it. Anyone on the stream who's still with us, I will see you guys next week and chat with y'all later.
Sounds good, man. We'll see ya.
Later.
Bye. There he goes.
There he is. We shifted.
Yeah. I mean, all we were really going to talk about next is just FU Mountaintop.
So real
Sorry,
quick,
not sorry,
so
Mountaintop.
Jade Rabbit is at a 80 aim assist. So that is also going to be.
So that's pretty high.
That's pretty high. That's the other highest one. Polaris Lance is at like a 39. I used to like that thing, dude. I can't believe I used to like that. And also Jade Rabbit, like I said, we shouldn't sleep on that one. That one's going to be really good. I still think. I personally think Jade Rabbits might do a little better than Mida, but Mida with the radar and everything else with it will make it sound like it's going to be more OP than Jade Rabbit. But I just feel Jade Rabbit's going to like destroy next season. But that's just me.
Do we know what the? So Mida is a 4 crit 1 body optimal TTK. What is Jade Rabbit? You know.
Is it not 3
Probably
headshots?
not.
Well, it boosts the
I have no
stability
idea.
when you're.
I have no idea.
I thought I've like picked up the gun once. I only use it in momentum control.
Because it feels like a
'Cause-
sniper.
Let's hit one shot.
Yeah, and Randy's is at 63, so that doesn't look good for my Randy's.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
More of the story.
scouts could be good.
Scouts getting a slight aim assist increase. That
Yeah.
combined with the fact that some of the other weapons that are running rampant are maybe getting knocked down just a tad. Maybe you see a few more scout rifles next season, but we're not really holding our breath on them taking over the meta or anything.
Why?
I don't know.
No, just
I
kidding.
do
I
really
don't-
wish though, like they do so much damage. I really do wish that a really good, maybe like a high impact scout with high cal rounds, like could be like the weapon that you go to like if you're playing trials or whatever and you're on a snipe heavy map, like you use that to actually kind of contend with some of the snipers, knock people off their shot, punish them a little bit. But I don't know.
Yeah, my
I
Night
think
Watch.
it's the map.
The hardest part too with
Night
scout
Watch.
rifles is they are a precision weapon, and you're heavily rewarded with the crit multiplier. Hitting those headshots. The body shot damage on scout rifles is abysmal.
Very poopy.
You know, so you miss a shot,
It feels
like-
bad.
or if you're
Feels
hitting
really
all
bad.
bodies, like your time to kill is just awful. Like you have to be hitting those crits with a scout rifle, and so
Exactly. That's why with the ARs, like totally just push scout rifles out of
That's true.
the meta. Like I was saying, Randy's that was my baby, man. Like you would hit. Well, I paired it up with snapshot kill clip. I know you could do rapid or Zen moment. I did snapshot kill clip, and that thing it would put in the work.
I remember I haven't loved a scout rifle since year 1 D2, and all the TTKs were like 3 to 4 seconds, and so I mean no gun felt atrocious. Like
Right.
they all felt good comparatively, and the freaking Mananan was like
I still have my Mananan in my vault.
Mananan
just
was-
because.
Mananan was literally the ish. I think I still have mine. I don't remember.
I've pretty much deleted every like year 1 weapon, other than like a couple of the swords and stuff and whatnot. But like, I just can't bring myself to delete some of those.
Dude, the
scout
freaking
rifles and
Mananan
whatnot.
though, dude. The Mananan was out of this world, and that's I don't know. I haven't loved a scout rifle since then. I think a lot of it has to do with the map, but
True.
yeah. And then another just big, very welcome change, obviously, is the mountaintop getting killed. Sorry, not sorry. Rest in peace, mountaintop. Screw you.
Thank goodness.
They're reducing. So some of the changes make sense, like reducing the splash damage, reducing the projectile velocity is huge. But they're adding an element of like RNG essentially when you're shooting it from the air. So like it's not necessarily going to go where you're shooting it. Like it kind of is going to veer off a little bit, and it's also going to travel slower. I don't know. I think this to me sounds like they're neutering it enough to where it's probably just going to be a better grenade launcher.
Well, and they're also making you. It's not just. I mean, potentially, it's not just. Well, I'm going to throw on quick access sling every time.
Yeah,
You
you might
know,
have to use.
Maybe
Icarus
you want to
Ray.
throw Icarus mod on it or whatever, and then you do have that slower swap time now. So the splash damage swapped to a sidearm or an SMG or gnawing hunger or whatever will be maybe a little bit less lethal if you make that decision. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that the changes will be enough.
You still gonna equip it, gamer?
Oh, I actually haven't used it in a long time.
I mean, like 2 weeks.
No, I mean I use it a lot in PvE still because it's really fun. But PvP, I
Mm-hmm.
normally don't really use it no more. Um, I haven't. I don't think I've ever brought it out in PvP except for when we do private matches. But um, I don't know. Like Mountaintop, it's had its moment to shine already.
A moment.
It's already.
Yeah, the wording in the TWAB was kind
Oh,
of like,
It's time to go, and it just didn't. I'm still scared because I think out of like all of us here, like I think I play mostly. I do more comp than any of you guys, and I still feel like I'm gonna see this in comp like almost every match still. Like it like
that's well
last
because it is gonna be a better. It'll probably still be the best out of the grenade launchers, but it's not gonna
yeah,
be.
yeah, like I don't feel like it's neutered
maybe.
enough because like I mean look at Luna's and Not Forgotten's. That thing's been neutered where like that those guns don't feel as good as when they used to be. Like picking up Luna's Howl when it first came out was sexy AF. Now that gun just feels like trash. It's still good, but like you can totally night and day difference. Mountaintop is a gun where like they've neutered it and it still feels super good. Like there's nothing about it that doesn't feel good at all. You know what I mean? So like with these changes, it just
Has it ever
it
been nerfed?
yeah, they nerfed it already. They nerfed the blast radius where like before, dude, you could hit someone's foot like 20 meters away, dude, and you could kill them. It was stupid. Like they nerfed the splash on it and they nerfed something else on it. I forgot what it was. They did like two minor changes to it, but like it's still like look at you guys like Taka got it just recently and just knows how like bomb it is and he didn't even have it when I had it when it was like amazing. Like I mean
I got it solely for PVE as well,
yeah.
just to have that because it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, and
DPS for
I
a
had
special weapon.
dude, and I had Mountaintop and Recluse at their prime. Dude, that was deadly. I mean, it was so lethal. Like that combo was no way it should have ever existed in this game. It was so ridiculous. But anyway, so like I said, like I feel like as a comp player, as a like more dedicated survival player, I feel like Mountaintop isn't going away,
You
and
heard it here,
that
ladies and gentlemen.
that saddens me.
If that doesn't make you sad, they are tuning Falling Guillotine a little bit. I personally think this is just because that sword trivializes a lot of like. I mean, we've gone into Cheese Riven how many times, like, because of Falling Guillotine. Yeah, kind of.
Honestly,
Rest
though,
in peace,
like
Falling Guillotine.
you could do the Riven cheese with just a normal sword.
Yeah,
Like you don't have to use falling
Right.
guillotine.
Well, I just don't know of anybody that didn't have it on when we.
Because it's just the best one.
Yeah, it's the
You
best one to
know,
use.
and
But-
it's so easy to get the god roll for it from
yeah,
the
and any
engrams.
sort of whirlwind can do the cheese.
yeah. So it's like, why would you use anything else? I think that's the problem. Is it's just too good. I mean, swords are already really good right now
Yeah.
in the DPS.
Pretty much what you just said, a
realm.
beard is like, why don't you just use the Galliard like instead of like knowing hunger?
Yeah, it's not that the Galliard's bad. It's just like, why would you?
Just-
Yeah,
yeah. Why would I?
Guillotine is
Why
just-
would I
why would you
grind a
use
forge
anything
when I
else?
could just go to the decryptor and like just get a
Get a
hunger?
Falling Guillotine. Keep pulling
And
the slot machine lever. Yeah, I mean, there's tons, and there's so much more too. I mean, we haven't even talked about the Vidoc from today. Like, there's the sandbox is just the one thing. Arguably, I do think it's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because that is the way the game feels. Essentially, how much fun we're having, how many options we have when we jump into Crucible. Lots changing. The Beyond Lights, it's 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. That's nothing. There's a whole bunch more that we haven't even had the time to touch on that does affect the sandbox. There's, the roadmap stuff that we didn't look at. We know that we're getting a couple more exotic weapons next season. Stasis is going to change the sandbox entirely as well. So there's a whole bunch coming out. More excited now than ever, though, especially after the Vidoc from today. I mean, cannot wait for the next 2 weeks to go by and we can sink our teeth into it. But
It's gonna be fun.
yeah, it's gonna be great. Well, we definitely want to say, everybody out there, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for following us along on Facebook and Twitch, where we stream every Tuesday, 9 Arizona time. Gamer?
Before we go, I just want to mention this one little thing because I thought it was kind of cool. So
Yeah.
like in the Vidoc, you know how they were talking about Europa and how like you're gonna be in there and you can feel the weather change and this and that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's like Anthem, dude. Like when they had the cataclysms.
Okay, shush. Stop it. You're done. How
It
can I
just
mute you?
it brought me back to Anthem, man, with the weather
I'm
changing
muting you right
and
now in
everything.
Discord. You're done. Just kidding. Just kidding. We love you, but it's freaking Anthem. But no, yeah, you're right. Like even that, like the game, it's literally going to be Destiny 3. Like 2 weeks from now, we'll have Destiny 3. You know, just with the same core stuff that we love in D2. So, but yes, again, thank you for listening. We put the audio up from the show on Spotify, usually the following day. YouTube as well. You can find audio and video if you want to see our ugly mugs talk about this game. And yeah, we appreciate you being here. Please share our pages, like them as well. Share them with anybody that you know. If you listen to our show and you have friends that play Destiny that don't listen to our show, well, then they should know about us. Just let them know that we're here every Tuesday at 9. Gamer, if people want to hang out with you after the show, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter. Not arguing about my internet no more because I finally got internet. You can
Yes.
catch me back to streaming. I did a stream like over the weekend. It was a practice one. It looks like everything's good. So tomorrow I should be up in live for a really good, finally like in the week stream. So first one back
Excellent.
after a few months. So
Glad my Twitch subscription's not going to waste now.
yep. So you can find me at Not So Gamer 91 on Twitter, on Facebook. Look for me on Twitch for at Not So Gamer, and you can just catch me.
Excellent. Taka, what about you?
You can catch me over on Twitter at TheTaka.
That's right. And you can also find me on Twitter if you feel so inclined at The Real Beard. Come chat with us. Probably going to be looking to start pulling in some listeners as well at some point to kind of come play private matches with us, run a raid if it's a raid night. So yeah, we're more details on that to come. Let us know though. Shoot us a message, or you can find us at Tower Talk Show on Twitter as well. Let us know if that's something you guys want to come play with us. We're on PC, so I guess that's an eliminating factor for some. That's kind of where we hang out. Maybe you could convince Gamer to play with you on Xbox though, if he wants to do something like that.
Yep. I'm still loyal to
not
Xbox.
us. Not us. We like our frames. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will catch you all next week.
Peace out.
Peace.
Later.
It's been fun.